Hey y'all. So I launched a deck on Kickstarter. This deck, because I want this to be out there in the world in top-notch quality, and I'll tell you why in a bit. And I'm almost there. As I'm recording this video, I practically almost made it. Only a couple more backers, and the deck's gonna become a reality, which is freaking amazing. But I really wanted to tell more about it, and then I asked people on Instagram to ask questions. So I asked them to ask me questions about the deck, what they wanted to know, and I decided to do that to answer those questions. And obviously, if you like what you see, you can back the deck. If you're watching this in real time, you can click the link in the description box below to purchase the deck, to pre-order it via my Kickstarter. So I'm gonna go question by question, and I was thinking maybe I should do like super fancy editing. We'll see if that happened. You might look at the screen and think, oh yeah, he did do the editing. Because I normally never edit, but since it's a Kickstarter, I feel like I should maybe go the extra mile. I myself have been doing great. I know I look a little bit tired. That's because I slept so well. But I had a pretty intense year behind me, which is also funny because this is actually one of the questions, so it's going to be a little bit more upfront. But someone asked me, because I make lots of decks, and some decks I do Kickstarters for, some decks I put straight on to make playing cards. And someone asked me, why did you put this deck on, not on make playing cards, but why did you decide to do a Kickstarter for this deck? And that's because of the year I had. It was pretty intense. I had a severe case of kidney stones that wouldn't go away. I was hospitalized for a little bit. That sounds way dramatic than it actually was. I was in hospital for a couple of days. I had some pretty spiritual experiences regarding my own identity, feeling carried and enveloped by love, and that's sort of how this deck came to be. That's why I created this deck. And since the energy felt so potent and so special, I wanted this deck to be out there in a extremely luxurious quality. So so that's one of the questions. So now I need to I love how unhinged I can be. Now I need to paste that question at the beginning, so I know when I write down title cards, if I edit. I'm gonna edit this, definitely. That I need to put that question there. So that's why I decided to have this deck, self-publish this deck, rather than make it a print-on-demand thing. Someone else asked, why did you go so digital with the images of the cards? I have created 2 photo collage decks prior to this, and I love those decks, and a lot of people that have bought them love those decks. But I just feel like, I just love creating photo collages. I'm heavily inspired by Danielle Noel. She's such an inspiration to me. And making digital collage is like a little puzzle. This was such a weird and intuitive process. Normally I'm very analytical, and I'm like, okay, this symbol needs to be in there because so-and-so, that symbol needs to be in there because so-and-so. And for this, it was like, I had a card title and a phrase or a question or a keyword, and I would just go look for imagery, and sometimes it'd be really weird. And I don't have explanations why every image is in every card, but it just had to be in it, which is so weird. But yeah, that's definitely, it's been a really interesting creation process. And like I said, digital photo collage is fun. It's fun as hell. It's like, it's creating a completely different world out of pre-existing things. And I just adore it. It's such a cool process to, like, if you would see all the elements that are in these cards separately, you'd be like, what? Is he for real? Like, did he create this from that? And it's just a lot of fun. And I know it's not everybody's taste, but yeah. So another question was, what's your favorite card in the deck? I have a couple. I love this one, the Supernova Warrior, and I haven't wrote the guidebook entry for this yet, but I was really inspired to create this card. I was inspired by Maeve from Mystic Midnight, from the Mystic Midnight Oracle. She also did the Mystic Metals coin set, which you may or may not have seen on Kickstarter. I loved it. And she created a deck, the Mystic Midnight Oracle, which is one of my favorites. And in that deck, she sort of does the major arcana, and then she does sort of astrology and also astrological, how do we say that? Astrological bodies? How do we call that again? I forget. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Heavenly bodies. And one of them is the Supernova. And the write-up for that card inspired me so tremendously that I had to have a Supernova Warrior in this deck. And he went through many iterations. And eventually I landed on this. Another favorite, which is an ultimate favorite of mine, is this, the Whale Song card. I don't know what it is, but whale noises, whale songs, just, I don't know, they just do it for me. And I love it so much. Even, wait, I'm gonna grab this. I even had it printed on this acrylic block as some, oh look, I can see myself here on this acrylic block, so I can have this in my home as home decor because I love it that much. So it's a very special design. And then my other favorite is this one, the Sacred Portals. This card went through many iterations as well. And eventually it turned into this by accident. You know, that's also so fun about digital photo collage. By messing with the settings of separate layers and images, sometimes you can get really gorgeous effects. And in this deck, you'll find that a lot of the layering is done in a way where it literally looks like it's an actual texture, or it will actually jump out at you. It's just, I just love it so much. And I also love the message on this card, which is, that there are multiple realities, but also multiple experiences and truths. So it's not sacred portals in the sense of, ooh, we're astral traveling. No, it's sacred portals in the sense of sometimes you need to go through a portal to realize that what you have decided for yourself is complete bullshit, maybe someone else's truth that they're living. So it's all about compassion and empathy. And I love me a little bit of that. I think it's very healthy. Are the models all people you know? No, matter of fact, there are only, as of now, 3 people I know in this deck, because I am, and this is so funny because the next question is also going to be answered with this little bit of information, because the next question was, why not older men? And I did my best to find as many, like I went out of my way to find as many men on stock photo image sites that had an ethereal look about them, that had a look about them that looked, that had the certain look that I like to see in my decks. There was one image of an older guy, but I had already used him in a previous deck, so I couldn't really. And then there's one other guy that I found. He was slightly heavier set, but I already used him in another deck as well. And the rest, unfortunately for men on stock photo sites, is all very body beautiful. What is really cool though is that we get lots of different ethnicities on these stock photo sites. So I do adore that we get Latinos, that we get Black people, that we get Indian people, that we get all these different ethnicities in there. So that's definitely something that I find, fun. So everybody can kind of see themselves in there. But yes, like most stock photos, like are very body beautiful and perfect. Which I don't mind looking at. Like I know that this can be triggering for a lot of people, but I don't necessarily hate that. I love looking at a fit guy just as much as I love looking at a chunky daddy. But it was kind of difficult to find age diversity and body diversity. And I did put an ad on my Instagram for guys to sort of join in, and nobody did. So, why this number of cards? I love the number 4. The number 4 correlates to the masculine in the tarot, the emperor. So 44 cards is, double 4, which is 8, which alludes to strength. So you have a great set of magical numbers there, which I find very important. I love numerology. And then for this edition, if we make it, there's going to be 4 extra bonus cards in there, which makes a magical number of 48. 48, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which alludes to the number 12, the hanged man seeing things in different perspectives, a little bit of stagnation, a little bit of pause, a little bit of rest, which I find very important as well. And the number 3, the Empress, which is the divine feminine. So we have a little bit of everything in there, which I love. Also, good to know, there's a practical side to this as well. My printer can print up to 48 Oracle card-sized cards on one sheet. When you print a deck, you kind of pay per sheet. You don't really pay per a number of cards, you pay per sheet. So that's interesting to know as well. So if I were to say, hey, no, but I want 50 Oracle cards, I would have to pay for a whole damn extra sheet. We're not gonna do that. This is fine. Why not more men in clothes? People think that me using half-naked guys is a sex thing. But it's not. It's just that lots of clothes give the deck a very timed feel. It gives the deck a feel of, okay, this was done during this time period, it was created back then, and it can give the deck a dated feel. That's why I like working with naked models. So it's kind of timeless. Nudity is timeless. Where do you get your art? I get my art from, so I create everything myself, but I get my art from stock photo image websites. Anyone can use those images. I use Unsplash.com, I use Pixabay, I use Pexels, I use the Adobe stock free option. Anyone can go on there and find these same images and do the same thing with them, but nobody can ever recreate what I did exactly, and I love that. How long did it take to create the deck? Well, what a lot of you people don't know is that I created a round tarot deck once. Only 2 people have it. I have it, Moran has it, and Martin has it. And Martin has the full 78 card set. Moran and I only have the majors only. And that was a while ago, but it felt good, but it felt a little inauthentic. It felt a little bit like a deck for the sake of a deck, so I had that shelved, and that was a digital collage round tarot. So that got shelved, and then a while back I got the Mike Wilcox tarot, which is not really a tarot, it's a majors only deck, and then there's a couple of oracle cards, which creates like a 44 card deck. And I was like, wow, not every tarot deck needs to have 78 cards. I wish more people would do a dope as hell majors only and then add their own like extra cards to it, sort of make it their own big ass major arcana. And that's what I started doing, and I really wanted it to be in the same league as the Work Light Oracle, the Starseed Oracle, the Starchild Tarot. I wanted those vibes. And that took me about a month and a half to create. Mind you not, I had a lot of these images already pre-selected for that tarot deck. So the tarot deck took me like a couple of months. So it's the project has been bubbling under the Hot 100 for about for about a year, I'd say, and now it's finally done. So that's really cool. Where did you learn to make digital art? Just by myself, because I wanted to. It's not that hard. You need to have some determination, but you need to. If you want to do, you can. If you want it, you can do anything. That's what I learned from starting to creating decks. If you want to see a different deck, create it. There's so much power in that. Like there's so much power in creation. When I drew my first guy at this very table on a piece of paper, and he looked good, and I thought, wow, I can draw. Not because I'm talented, but because I had determination and I wanted to get better and better every time. That's when I knew that you could do anything you ever wanted to. Any plans for a deck with more than one gender or with animals? No. Why is this deck on Kickstarter? Because I feel like it has something to add to the conversation. I will never release or do anything, self-publish anything, go through the hassle of creating a whole ass Kickstarter site. The Kickstarters are a lot of work, and I already work full-time. I would never go through that trouble just to make a quick buck. Where do you get your inspiration? It can be, I'm very visual. So for this deck, I had this guy. I had used him in the unreleased round tarot deck, and it felt like he didn't fit in there. And then I found this really dark background, and he sort of had this eerie look about him. The lighting just felt on point, and then I found these skulls and everything just came together. So it's very much, I get inspired by separate elements and seeing the potential in them to create a whole image, like it was meant to be there. Like, you can't tell me, obviously you can tell because with digital collage you can always tell, but it almost looks like he is actually in that dark forest, you know? And I love that. Other inspiration to me is definitely in nature. I live on the edge of the biggest nature reserve in the Netherlands, and I go walking and hiking in there every day. And I'm so inspired by anything natural. So that's amazing. Who does your proofreading? No one. I do everything by myself. I proofread for others. But I'm all alone. I do get help sometimes though. Robin Boise has created the deck box for my brother-to-brother Oracle. Lennox Reese created well, she didn't create, but she helped put together the box art for my Arcane Warrior Tarot. So I do get some help with the proofreading. I do that all by myself. And the next question is so interesting, and I'm going to have to look up the card really quickly. Because the question is, what card would you change right now if you could? And I actually already did. So that's, and there's, you guys won't notice, but there will be many like subtle changes that the untrained eye won't notice. But there are two cards that I completely changed. And I will show you. Like, I had this card, I had him, I loved him. But something about it felt a little flat and a little cheap. So I completely removed him from the deck, and I was working on the bonus cards for the deck, the extra 4 cards that will only be in this Kickstarter edition, that will never get reproduced. And I was working on it, and that image just encapsulated this card meaning so much. And it was so gorgeous, so I asked the guy if I could put him in the actual deck, and he said yes, and so he's in there now. So you might be able to see this image still on some posts on my Instagram and maybe in the Kickstarter video, but he won't be in the deck. And with him, I loved, but I felt like these lines I didn't really like that I put on there, so I removed those and I added some extra things to it, some extra texture that you're probably gonna love. But that's so that I do that sometimes. I did it with the last Kickstarter too. I completely changed the artwork for 2 or 3 cards in the Arcane Warrior Tarot. Never had any complaints about them, and I love the new version. So how did you come up with the art for the back? Well, I had a pretty cool back. I can show it to you, but I can also tell you why I decided not to use it. I had this, and this was a very subconscious process, so I didn't actively, maliciously do it, but this is a complete rip-off of the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell and Daniel Noel. It wasn't even me who noticed, but it was my hubby, and he was like, I was playing with the Starseed, and he was like, why the fuck does your deck have to have the same backs as that? So I was like, oh no, what the hell? So I created a new one, and it is actually it's really cool. It's this circle, which is actually, I will show it on the screen somewhere, which is actually a mosque or church ceiling. And I just found it so pretty, and the gorgeous symmetry and craftsmanship, and you know, it made me think about spirituality and prayer and feeling carried and uplifted. So I knew that had to be the card backs. Will you add reverse meanings in the book? No, because I don't believe in reversals. What is your least favorite card? Well, I already kind of showed you, and I also told you that I completely changed it. So this was my least favorite. I changed it. The rest I all love. This was one of my favorites, but I hated what I did to the background, so I changed that as well, and I'm completely content now. Have you done any readings with this deck that stunned or surprised you? Yes, this deck always calls me the hell out because I chose to put, instead of guidance on a lot of cards, you'll find questions. Because I believe that in a community where we are always looking for answers, sometimes the question is the best answer. So I've been getting a lot of those cards where I'm going to try to pull one now to see if I maybe get a question. Oh, it's not necessarily a question this time, but it's the focus card. Be present in the here and now. This is going to be the box cover. But especially when I've gotten the question cards, those have been really hard-hitting or amazing. Yeah. Which famous man would you gift this deck? I would love to gift this deck to Jason Momoa because he is bae. And this has been it. It's been very long. I hope y'all liked it. So I think I'm gonna go edit it now really quickly, and I'll see you guys later. Please back the deck. So please support, even if you can only only have a couple of bucks to spare, I don't mind that at all. If you have some money trouble right now and you can't afford the Kickstarter at this point, that's completely fine as well. But you can always share, like, comment. That stuff helps tremendously as well. So thank you for watching. Back the deck.